Okay, I'm here addressing the nation. I'm okay. I'm Erica Rico and 47 years old. Basically, what I've been going through is because I exposed the Baker Act. The Baker Act is a 72-hour hold that is requested by the family. My family never requested the Baker Act because I was a threat to myself and others. I don't suffer from mental illness. I suppose that the person behind this was Melissa Alman, doesn't have a license. This woman has never worked. She has been stalking me for 14 years, 24/7. I'm a twin soul, so I'm an enlightened being my family doesn't know. I have Kundalini energy. And that's how she gets in my soul. Okay, so I'm at home. I've been at home for 2 months. There are no communications. We've been playing the Crank Yankers. Essentially, what she does is she hacks your phone. She hacks the contacts, and she starts creating voices. You know, she imitates your voice. She does this using Google Voice Assistant, and I haven't spoken to the kids in 51 days. She calls the kids using my face, using a FaceTime that looks from like a third world country. I didn't want to do TikTok. I don't like showing my face. I don't feel comfortable with showing my face. I do like my earrings. They're from Temu. Everything that I buy is from Temu. And she had TikTok and she had Temu. So I wasn't going to get into politics, but given the fact that our politicians are not doing anything, I took it upon myself to just reassure the American population that we're okay. Essentially, we don't have phones at our disposal at this time. If you go through your settings, and you're going to see that it's a duplicate of Apple OS. This is connected to Google Voice Assistant. So you're going to notice that it's a copy of, it's a duplicate. Every platform is a duplicate. What they do, they add 2 backslashes before the URL. And my hair, she destroyed my hair. I'm trying to fix my hair. They do dismantle home systems by using the app. Fake news is done by hacking the app. They hack the app, and what they do is they link it up to YouTube TV, and they use AI and they create their own voices, their own TV shows like Fox News. And the terrorists behind this are Melissa Alman, Michael Alman, Greg Alman, and Marcus Alman. He works for CDW. CDW is an empire composed of 3 people. They essentially made a duplicate of Facebook. They made a duplicate of Quora. They made a duplicate of TikTok. Every platform has a duplicate. I never wanted to show my face. Despite the fact that I'm very confident, I'm shy. I keep to myself. I'm very reserved. I cannot conceive that my family will be targeted this way by some porch monkeys that have never worked a day in their lives. I've been Baker at this 7 times for 14 days, so I have a massive lawsuit against the state of Florida. Now I'm going to take the time to talk about things that I'm passionate about. Mental health being one of them. We have a massive addiction crisis in the United States. And I explain how sex addiction happens. I write a lot of dissertations. And basically, when you're an addict, what transpires is the following. When we're children, we're supposed to be loved by our parents. We're supposed to be accepted unconditionally. We're supposed to feel that we matter, that we're worthy, that we're loved. When a baby is not getting their needs met, this happens in infancy, or it could happen as a child. You have this abandonment wound. You have this massive hole. It feels like a hole in your soul, like a hole in your psyche. So you have this massive abandonment wound. And what you do is that little boy or that little girl has to create ingenious ways on how to avoid the pain that they're in. So that's the development of codependency. Codependency is not understood. Essentially, codependency is an addiction to the outside. The child is going to be scanning the environment for things to distract himself with to avoid the pain that he has inside his soul, his psychological pain. So the child is in pain. No child is supposed to go through childhood in pain. So because of that, some children say, when I masturbate, I don't feel pain. When I go into fantasy, which is limerence, when I get into a fantasy with someone, I don't suffer pain. So they escape the pain. For little girls, it's usually love addiction, which is a fantasy of being rescued, and you start thinking that you're going to be rescued, that you're going to live happily ever after, and you're going to get high in fantasy essentially. So you get high in fantasy, your body's releasing dopamine, you're releasing all these chemicals, and you avoid psychological pain because the children cannot afford to believe that their parents are dangerous. They use a defense mechanism called idealization to feel safe. They put mommy and daddy on a pedestal thinking nothing could get to me because I'm protected by a godlike creature. Okay, so they idealize the parents. And sorry about the hair, I had to fix it, but I don't know what they put in my hair. It's getting fixed. I'm gonna get a haircut. So they idealize the parents, they put them in a pedestal, and they believe that nothing could get to them because I'm protected by a godlike creature. Because of that, when a child, their needs are not being taken care of, that leads to a sense of shame. That leads to a sense that there's something about the self that if others were to see would reject me. So it leads to the creation of a false self. I'm an MBTI practitioner, and I sort for everyone to take an MBTI test. An MBTI is basically your cognitive functions, how you process information, who you truly are at the core, your true self. Me personally, I'm an ENTJ female, which is very rare. I'm a rational. My daughter's an INTP, and my son, I'm not quite sure what he is, but he's also highly intelligent. And so moving along, when you have this shame, you create a false self, a persona that will be more acceptable to others. Because at the core, you believe that you were rejected by your parents because there was something flawed about the self. Okay, so that leads to us when you have a shame-based identity, you don't achieve autonomy, which is the third psychosocial stage by Eric Harrison, shame versus autonomy. When we have a shame-based identity, we don't have the capacity to be autonomous. Okay, you have to remember that for that ego to separate from the parents, we have to see our parents in a negative light. That's the only way we develop a strong ego and we could achieve individuation. Individuation, we have to psychologically separate from the parents. When that fails, and you idealize your mother, you created an illusion of fusion with your mother. Okay, we have to see our mothers realistically. See them as sometimes they tried the best they could, but they hurt us. And that's the reason why we have abandonment pain. Okay, so when you are an addict, you're craving for connection because we are a connected species. We need to connect. We need to feel that we belong. An addict is so full of shame that he cannot accept himself for who he is. So he cannot be vulnerable in relationships. But in order for us to achieve intimacy, we have to be vulnerable with someone. We have to risk being vulnerable, risk being seen. Because for the alcoholic is having an intimate relationship with a bottle. The sex addict is having an intimate relationship with sex. They're craving connection. That's the reason why they go to the 12-step groups to disclose themselves, to see themselves in non-judgmental eyes and accept the self. That's the reason why you go to a 12-step. That's the reason why the first steps of the 12 steps is I'm powerless over alcohol. Okay, the reason why you're doing this, the reason why you say you're powerless, and I hate my hair, is I don't like showing my face, but whatever. I'm gonna take a chance of being silly. The reason why you're powerless is because they want you to surrender your ego. Okay? Control is an illusion. When we are children, a little kid has what is called magical thinking. Magical thinking is synchronicities and people that think manifestation, that is called magical thinking. We cannot predict outcomes. We can only do the best we can. Okay? Children are naive. They're innocent. They believe that they could control, especially control other people and control the environment. We cannot control anything. So as an addict, you have to surrender control and see what emotions come to the surface. You're going to be dealing with massive abandonment pain. The key is you're going to feel that abandonment pain. You're going to go to the kitchen and take some Tylenol so you don't even feel the pain as your body's detoxing and it's experiencing the pain that you couldn't experience as a child. A child has defense mechanisms: splitting, intellectualization, disrealization, idealization, minimalization, intellectualization, reaction formation, a, a gamut of psychological defenses: dissociation, disrealization, in order not to feel the pain. But as adults, we could feel the pain. So I wanted to address the addiction crisis that we have in the United States. And basically, I'm not going to be on TikTok. Maybe I should, but I do want my platforms to be fixed. Facebook is a duplicate, TikTok is a duplicate, Timo is a duplicate, X is a duplicate. The Yaman family, they're terrorists. And I cannot be without a phone and without platforms. I haven't spoken to my family in approximately 51 days. This is a psychotic woman with my identity. She has my social, she has my name, and they basically made my twin flame disappear. Luis Daniel Heredia is nowhere to be found, and Fernando Rico is nowhere to be found. And this ridiculous people think that by hacking Social Security and changing Social Security numbers, they're gonna make me disappear. I'm doing okay. I want my family to see that I'm doing okay. That's me. You know, I'm skinny. Really, I got really, really thin in the crisis. I got really thin, but I'm okay. They're gonna fix my hair. She made knots in my hair. So they're gonna be fixing my hair. Everything is gonna be alright. But I just wanted to address the sex addiction crisis. Thank you.